All right, hello, welcome to Grim and Perilous Plays. Everybody with Steven is ready, which means we're ready. Holy crap, I did a horrible job of framing Chuck. But I'll fix that in a second. But yeah, we're back to Heart. We're nearing the end of Heart. We are possibly at the finale of Heart. We'll see how it goes. It's either going to be finale or second to last. We'll see how it goes. We had a pretty crazy end to the last session where Steven tried to kill the entire party. And now we get to see the inverse of that, where the entire party gets to try to kill Steven, and we'll see how that works out. So, before we do all that, why don't we go ahead and do a roundtable and try to remember who everyone is playing? Adam, tell us about Esme/Susan.
Hi, I'm Esme, and I'm a deep apiarist. And things have been great, but they're not so great lately. So I'm hoping that one day things will be great again. But yeah, one day, hopefully. I also have a friend I carry with me. Her name's Susan, but she's been a little mean lately. She's just been saying whatever she wants to. Pay no attention to her. She is out of her mind. She is highly emotional right now, and she can't be trusted to make any good decisions.
Okay, all right. We did so Adam's doing a very fun little thing too. Do you want to just reveal it later then, like what you decided to do with your zeniths? Because I think it's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, later.
All right, we'll do it later. Next up is Chuck's beard. Oh, there he is. There's Chuck. Chuck, tell us about Lucius.
I'm playing Lucius, cleric of the meat tree. I have picked a zenith beat, and I'm gonna zenith the hell out of that beat. And I am also going to kill Zenobe. And I don't know how yet, but I need to kill Susan without killing Esme. Esme is my friend, but Susan's a sociopath.
Zenobe is your friend?
Zenobe, no, that's a lie.
No.
And the lie detector said that shit's false. Yeah.
Sorry, I was busy framing you. You look better. We still see your whole face now. You look real good. You look fantastic. Next up, because we have a full house tonight. So next up, we've got Mike. Mike, tell us about Dante.
Yeah, so Dante is a hound. He's a dark elf hound. He likes to think of himself as like a marshal sheriff type. And he's a protector of this place. And right now everything's just gone to shit. So he is suffering from a fallout called Furious, I believe. So he's just pissed off and not taking anyone's shit anymore. And Zenobe's crossed that line where he's just going to have to put that mad dog down. So that's what Dante's going to do. And then he's going to fix this place. He's going to kill those damn worms. And then he's going to lead this place to prosperity as a Zenith beat.
Yeah. That sounds great. That all sounds great. I saw your Zenith beat. You have a very happy ending beat.
Right.
It's very good. I'll tell you what. If you decide to kill Zenobe, you can go ahead and get an extra knack on it. So just a bonus D10, no problem.
Nice.
Next up, bottom row, Jen. Jen, tell us about Zelena.
Zelena is a witch who was not around for the last session because she was too busy taking care of a fallen witch sister that she'd been carrying around with her as soon as they got back to the wonderful heart tree. And so she has no idea what the heck is going on.
Nothing happened. I don't know why they're upset.
Why is there water everywhere? I'm so confused.
Yes, there was rain in the Bleeding
There may
Hollow.
have been a flood or
there
something.
may have been a flood. We did all that before hurricane season, so I feel like we're okay.
It wasn't us.
Yeah, it wasn't. Next up, Steven, tell us about your character who everyone hates.
Hi, I'm Zenobe. Zenobe is a dark elf junk mage He wears a big wide brim wizard hat, and he is constantly dripping wet with his love for the drowned queen. He's also very friendly, easy to get along with, extremely remorseful for any sort of discomfort he's caused anyone. And just throwing that out there.
Does that extend to like other games too, or is that just a hard?
No, just this one.
Okay, sure. All right, that makes sense. And then finally, we have Malik, a man who knows how to take shit seriously. So Jeremy, tell us about Malik.
I'll be playing Malik. I'm an old penitent cleaver. I'd really prefer not to kill anybody here. I simply want to do my best to help the settlement. Perhaps I'll have a chance to be absolved of my sins and find a higher calling.
Okay. So I guess let's go ahead and get started. We had a situation last time. Let's just put it that way. So you all, after going on a very lengthy crusade to find resources, spire black, oil, effectively, to bring back to your haven of Bleeding Hollow, when you finally returned, Bleeding Hollow is not as you left it. In fact, the vast majority of the inhabitants of your once fair meat tree-centered city had fled. Many stayed, many that you know and were fervent supporters of the meat tree and the various lessons that heretics like Lucius were able to provide. Some stayed. But they had to consolidate into the very center of the city, the very center of the haven. So there's the meat tree, which was starting to wither, the meat, and possibly coming up rancid here and there. All the power had dissipated from most of the haven, the settlement. No lights. The heart was beginning to sort of creep in the shadows, and only in two places, really, maybe three, in the central parts of the city had all of the survivors, maybe around 24 or so, been able to sort of take shelter. And so that was specifically, you were in the blood winery, and then you were in the smokehouse, which are essentially the places where you can go to heal. So some people hung around. So Iron Eye, Manning Dupree, Jamet, Tom Collins, the head of the Blood Winery, Al C. Hollick of the Meat Juice Liquor Store. He was there. Uriah, I think, one of Malik's Cleaver friends. Bashar, the young Knoll pup that you all saved from the Flightless Owl Temple, very beginning of the campaign. Some of the hounds that worked with Dante to protect the settlement had remained, continuing to move the defenses further and further inward. Now, hidden amongst all of the shadows and in the darkness of this settlement were worms, W-Y-R-M, which we have seen before when you went down to save Bashar. There was this very large worm that had kind of cloaked itself or camouflaged itself down there. You were able to escape, get some damage to it, but eventually you escaped. But now you're seeing the evidence that worms are everywhere. You're seeing pits filled with just thousands of worms. You're seeing these adolescent worms that are skittering around here and there, almost lamprey-like, and trying to devour people. So you made it back with these two truck-like, basically trucks, essentially tankers with all this spire black. You got waylaid in the road and had to kind of slowly work your way back to the center. You met with some of the survivors, and then you kind of spread out. Zenobe was starting to show some signs of like weird behavior here and there. I would say Esme and Malik went off to complete a task. I think it was kind of planting. Was it planting the sapling, Adam? Was that right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you went out towards a specific spot within the haven that kind of planted. So the Malik kind of gave you cover. Meanwhile, Dante and Lucius, and to some degree Zenobe, were trying to get the factory tanks filled back up with spire black. But Zenobe kept hearing like this weird compulsion to do other things, to sort of sabotage everything that was happening. And in many fronts, these worms started to attack. So Malik and Esme were attacked by multiple. Lucius and Dante were attacked as well. Zenobe stole one of the trucks mid-fight, drove it away and crashed it into this spot that almost had like a spotlight on it, and it caused one of the pillars of the haven to collapse and wrenching open the ceiling of the massive cavern within which the bleeding hollow sits. The Drowned Queen's realm began to just wash in and begin to flood everywhere. So we're going to pick up almost immediately after this happens. We're going to say, Malik and Esme, we're going to say you've been rushing back towards the center. You're able to meet up with Lucius and Dante. We even say Zelena is towards probably left her near the blood winery, as all of the survivors are now coming outside of those buildings, and they're seeing this deluge of water just rush in. And within seconds, the roads are inches full, then a foot full, and then the water is seeing no end in sight.
Get me to the tree. Now, Malik. Malik, don't do it. Bring us back to the flower. We can save this settlement. Bring us back to the flower. Esme is having a break in her mind. She does not know what she's doing. Get me to the tree now. Don't listen to her. Please now, Malik. As like, when Esme's in control, it's almost like she's about to get out of your arms and crawl towards it.
I've made it very clear that I like you, Esme. And you said you don't have much time. I'll support what you request. And so he'll just keep running as best he can as the water rises towards the tree.
Yeah, and when
just kind of football, like firemen carrying as much as necessary.
Okay. Turn me over. So now that she's able to, with her chest to the sky, she rips open her shirt, and all that's underneath is this waxen like tube of a torso, and she like grabs onto it, and you hear this snapping sound as she like rips a piece of it off, and she's like, I know what I have to do, and she like reaches in, and she's like, she's in here, I have to end it. And as you see her like start to tug on this like white pumping what looks like a heart, but it's not a regular heart. And as she starts to pull on it, the swarm immediately comes out and eradicates her only arm that she has left. And she screams out in pain. And she's like, no. Malik, bring us back to the sapling. She knows not what she does.
Is it clear that Esme was trying to rip out the heart?
Mm-hmm. Do it. Don't worry. Silly. We can save the settlement.
Not all things need to be saved. Sometimes cleansing is necessary.
And at that
moment,
moment,
I loved you, Esme.
Yeah.
And just will do the piercing claws, go through the chest. And
as you rip out her heart, Esme like falls back and looks over towards Lucius and says, don't worry, everything will be okay. And she disappears into a swarm of bees that fly out as she has broken free from the heart, because the queen is the piece of the heart that had hold over her, as she is achieving her zenith beat.
Mm-hmm.
And since she can't live long without a heart, is immediately going to use her zenith ability.
Okay, what is it?
It is Dimensional Bastion. So you see this hive split out as Esme's body is disappearing, and she becomes a conduit to the hive, and thousands of glyph-marked bees rush out of her body and clothing until her physical form is dissolved entirely into the swarm. The bees quickly spread out to the edges of the landmark and ward it, building crystalline structures that keep the energies of the heart at bay. While the bees endure, this place will be safe from the uncaring and ever-changing heart itself. She isn't quite dead, but she definitely isn't alive either. She persists as a message passed between the bees and the echo in the place. Rename the landmark appropriately.
Okay. Well,
That's what it says. I don't really.
right.
we
So
don't need to do.
we'll say the crit. So so your swarm breaks out, and we start. You can see like kind of scatters in all directions. It's looking specifically for like the place where the drowned queen's realm is beginning to flood into this area, and it kind of goes up, follows where the deluge of water is coming down, and just builds this kind of protective barrier to keep the deluge from falling. So like the water is no longer coming down. Still a significant amount of water has come in to kind of flood the heart already, but you've managed to prevent the entirety of the sea from coming down in and just filling the entire cavern. So what we would instead of it being just one giant cavern underwater, we're dealing with just maybe 5-10 feet worth of water kind of flooding around, something salvageable at the very least. So I would say probably Lucius and Dante are there as well, maybe even Zelena. Zenobe I think is probably somewhere else. We'll jump to that in a second. So as that's happening, as you're seeing Esme rip apart and kind of go off in these 1,000 different directions with her swarm, what are those of you who are witnessing this happen?
It's time for a prayer, and then we continue on. I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we can't let her, sacrifice go to naught. We need to round up a posse. We need to find Zenobe. We need to put that mad dog down, and then take care of these worms. Hopefully, the water has supplemented them for a bit. But yeah, I think if we don't take care of Zenobe, he's just going to keep on keeping on, and he's going to try to drown us all like rats. So we got to put him out. So, all right, everybody, let's get going.
Okay.
Very well.
So are you looking for Zenobe? Is that what's
Oh yeah,
happening?
we're gonna hunt his ass down.
Okay. Zenobe,
He's so eager.
Zenobe, you're a junk mage. Would we say so definitely hunt would work for skill. We could just do Haven since we're in a Haven.
Yeah. I do like a good hunt Haven.
I have Haven, so I can assist in maybe like coordinating some of my new followers to kind of do a grid pattern.
Okay.
Is this while Malik's kind of off and away with Esme?
Well, I think didn't Esme need to get rushed back to the tree? So I think you're all near the center, and so since you went with Esme's plan, you're able to sort of, I would say, meet up, but just for the sake of convenience, we'll say Lucius, Dante, Zelena, Malik, you're all kind of near the center. You've watched Esme sacrifice herself to plug the hole in the cavern. So if you're looking to hunt, I would say we'll go hunt Haven. If anybody wants to assist, you're welcome to do so as you're looking for Zenobe.
Yeah, I'll be helping.
I would beg that we not be so hasty to take another life in our party. There is a great deal of corruption here. And yes, this water stings and burns, but there is much corruption that needs to be burned away. There is a chance that in his own way, his faith is meant to be beneficial. I will help you find him, but do not be so quick to kill.
I mean, I'm sorry, Malik. I mean, normally we agree. On a lot of things. We're a pretty solid team, but you weren't here. You didn't see the blatant sabotage he did to this settlement. You didn't see him drive off into a pillar, to try to drown us all in this now knee-high water that if, Esme didn't sacrifice herself to stop, would have drowned us all, would have destroyed this entire haven, would have killed us all. For what? For his drowned queen? Fuck her.
or perhaps to stop the spread of these worms.
We could have done that the good old-fashioned way. We
Then
didn't
perhaps
need to
do
drown
it.
out the whole haven, kill everyone just to kill some worms.
Perhaps there was a bit of
I got
fate
some
that we-
worm medicine right here as I pat my rifle.
All right, let's do
So
that.
if
Let's
you
do the
don't want to be a
test.
part of it, you don't have to, Malik. It's understandable, but you weren't here like Lucius and I were.
I agree.
Just saying, I take my duties very seriously. If I didn't think that he'd come back, I'd chase him out of town. But that dude's insane. Whatever they did to his head back when they connected with those cyber guys, that's not Zenobe anymore. That's a mad dog. You got to put that down. I'm sorry, but that's how it is.
I respect your dedication. I will still come.
So let's go. All right, so I'll add in an assist.
I'll assist as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hunthaven, take the extra. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron just gave out 1,000 bits for me to do something truly, utterly horrendous.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
Okay. Okay. So so how'd you do? Success, I think?
Yeah, it looked like a success. Let me get back to the roll. Yep, success. It was as long as it was standard.
Okay, the last we saw Zenobe had just crashed the one of the tanker trucks into a pillar, unleashing the water. Where would Zenobe have gone after that, Steven?
Okay, so I don't like the do something horrendous and then you shift focus to Zenobe. Something about that just doesn't sit right.
Or it sits so right.
I mean, he could be on
I
your
seem
side.
to remember a Haunted West game where Adam dropped some bits and you just did some awful things just to Purdy.
Oh, Adam, you screwed me on that. Okay. So Zenobe
Goes
would
around,
have
comes around, I guess.
It does.
Zenobe would have taken out the pillar, and then as like the waterfall was coming down, he would just be doing his very best to stand in the middle of it. Like the pressure would be pushing him away, washing him away, and he'd just be going back towards the center of it, just trying to
Okay.
get in the middle of there.
So the water is coming down. So this is sort of like we'll say we'll shift back in the timeline to before the patch happened. And a significant chunk of water, because like Malik and Esme were on the outskirts of the town when this kind of all happened, and they were running, and so plenty of water has come down to the point where there's like 5 to 10 feet of like water everywhere, just sloshing all over the place. You're sometimes having to travel like for like Dante and Malik and Lucius and Zelena, like rooftop to rooftop, or some sort of walking on fences or the trees or something like that. But Zenobe, as you're watching this come down, it's not just water that's coming in. Like you see as you're standing there and you're not getting washed away. Like despite the intense pressure of the water, like you're just sitting there like you're like some sort of strange, violent baptismal moment where all this water is just washing over top of you. You look down to your arms are kind of beginning to almost bloat in some way. You're seeing like the discoloration here and there, you're seeing tiny bits of like coral begin to graft and grow on top of your arms and your legs, and you're kind of feeling these strange growths as the drowned king's realm is sort of almost changing yourself, but you're also seeing creatures begin to fall as well. You're seeing other things that are just swimming down amongst the water. And at a certain point, you look up as this shower is happening, and as you're just kind of floating in the water, you're feeling this swirl, this strange whirlpool kind of right around you to keep you centered underneath it. All of a sudden, the spigot goes off, and no more water falls.
No. I start scrambling, looking around. I see the bees up there. We had an alliance.
And the crystals begin to form as you're watching the swarm stitch together this hole, and there's this patch of this massive hole in the cavern. You see around you all of these different creatures that are beginning to swarm with you. You see what looks like these sort of some kind of predatory like fish, like large sharks with strange growths on them. You're seeing squid-like creatures begin to shift off into the darkness. And I would say, see at a certain point like a lantern light kind of jumping from like one rooftop to the next, and you can see in the distance that like your group is kind of moving across from where the center of the town actually was. They're hopping from rooftop to rooftop, looking for you. It's at that point, Dante, that you see in the distance like where that hole was as you kind of chase down. You see Zenobe kind of still underneath this strange illuminated light, a couple bits of water continuing to drip, but the deluge is gone. You also see between yourselves and Zenobe, the waters are filled with all sorts of strange, shadowy creatures. In addition to that, there is this kind of periodic earthquake that you're feeling, this rumble. You see the waters themselves begin to kind of tremor out a bit, and it's all starting to shake every now and then, but somehow the haven is not collapsing. What do we want to do?
The bits are flowing tonight.
Ooh.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Thanks, Hero.
Yeah, thanks, Hero. Wow.
So Zenobe in the center of all this would see his companions, his friends, jumping from roof to roof and probably call out to them, "I'm over here!"
Great. All right, this makes things easy. All right.
Mm.
So when he ran the tankard into the pillar, did the tanker explode?
Yeah, I bailed at the
Or
last
did it
second.
just
I think so.
plow through it?
I think he did the thing where he like jumped out right before it plowed into the pillar, and then the pillar and then the tanker exploded, and then that's what caused the pillar to collapse.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know if the tanker was still there, like leaking oil or anything. Okay. So no. Okay. It's gone.
About how
Jeez.
far is he from us?
I would say he's in sight, so probably not too far, maybe like 50 yards or so.
So would
Can
that
you
be,
see me? I'm over here.
Would that be in range?
Of what are you trying to do?
A special spell?
Probably depends on the spell. Let me take a look at your character sheet. What's it
In
called?
range. What's
It's
with
the
the
last
hostility?
one, accentuate. Accentuate.
It says ranged. I think so. I think we'll say he's right on the far range of this.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Okay. I'll
Oh,
say
no.
because it's so distant, make it when you is it a roll? I think you do a roll on this, right? So yeah, it functions as a weapon with kill d6 ranged. So yeah, you would basically be rolling like kill Haven probably for this. I don't think there's anything anyone can necessarily do to assist here. But yeah, I would say roll kill Haven. Standard risky difficulty.
Kill?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, standard or risky?
I'm sorry. It's I always forget the names of it. It's been a while. Hang on. It's going to be standard difficulty.
Oh, okay.
I have like Blaze in the Dark lingo, like risky standard. Wait, that's
Ooh.
oh my. So Zelena, describe what this spell that you cast looks like and what it does to Zenobe.
I see him and I say blood for blood, and I'm going to reach out with my hands and point at him, and I'm going to do a pulling gesture, and it's going to pluck his blood out of his mouth and nose, choking him on his own viscera.
Excuse me. Roll 2d6. So because it's d6 for the spell, and then because of the crit, you get a second. Okay. Take 9 points of blood, Zenobe, as you hear the faint chants of Zelena from the distance, like where the light is, where you see Dante and Malik. You're calling out to them, and all of a sudden you feel blood just kind of pull up from your throat, your nose, your eyes. You just, and it kind of floats in the air and seems to be almost drifting in Zelena's direction. 9 points blood.
It's actually salt water that comes out instead of blood.
Nice. Okay, and then let's do Fallout. So that's gonna 9 on the Fallout die. Did you have any defense?
I would have put it. Looking back, I would have put it to Echo, which I can do once a situation, which would have put me at 8 total. So I think I would have been just okay.
Yeah, it's equal to or lower, so you're good. So if it's a 9's over 8, so you don't actually suffer a fallout from it, but this has just happened. How do you want to react to that?
What? Why? I think I would go under the water and just try to disappear.
Okay. So you dive below the water. Roll sneak. We'll do sneak, wild, and you can, or haven if you prefer, but you can take a knack because this is water. This is your domain.
All right. So sneak, I don't have. You said haven?
Haven or
Also don't
wild.
have that.
One of the two.
I don't have either, so I'm just relying on this knack here.
Yeah, sure.
Standard difficulty?
Yeah, standard's fine.
Hey.
All right. So you immediately dive beneath the water. You find that you don't feel a need to really breathe as much, like something about this strange transformation that's started to affect you.
Well, I haven't breathed in many sessions now.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Okay, so you dive beneath the water. You're not having any issues whatsoever, but you're also like moving and swimming with kind of greater alacrity than probably before. You see there's all these different creatures and shadows swarming about, but none of them seem to aggress upon you. But you're underneath the water. And you just want to, are you just looking to flee, or are you looking to like get closer to them, or?
I think closer to them. I mean, Zenobe would still consider them his friends and not understand what's going on.
All right. Dante, Malik, Lucius, the three of you are there. Zelena just cast a spell. Zenobe dove underneath. What are the three of you doing?
Well, I felt really good about attacking Zenobe until I actually saw Zenobe get attacked. We should do what Malik says and take him.
I'm going to dive in.
Okay.
Give me a moment. I might be able to assist you in this. No, I don't think I can. Never mind.
Okay, so Malik, you want to dive into the water? Dante, what do you want to do?
Dante's going to shout out, Zenobe! By the power invested in me by those citizens in the Bleeding Hollow, I am declaring you a criminal, and you will come under arrest, or you will be put down. I suggest you surrender peacefully. Make this easy on yourself. Else, I'll send you back to your damn crown queen, one way or another.
I would say you probably caught some of that. Definitely the whole like surrender portion of it, as you're under the water at this point amongst these other creatures.
Zenobe was having such a good moment, and then these bees come in, and then you guys are all angry. It's really bringing down the vibe.
I'm going to turn to Dante and hand him the nautical shell and say, you should have used this if you wanted to talk to him.
What the hell's
Can
that?
we see Zenobe right now, or is he still underwater?
So it's going to require a test. He did actually dive under, and he did roll stealth. So Malik, are you committed to jumping in?
Yeah.
Okay, so you jump in. Splash! Everything kind of like this salt water flies up on top of the small rooftop on the shack that you all are standing on top of. You dive in, and go ahead. And we'll say roll let's call it an evade test. And evade wild, I would probably go with, because you're underwater here.
Okay. There we go. Evade. And wild. And go.
You dive in, and it's very dark underneath there. Again, this very dark cavern. There's a little bit of light coming down from probably Dante's lantern or something like that. And
Actually, I'll
as
do
you
the classic 5e. I have dark vision.
yeah, as you jump in, your eyes adjust. You open them up. It's dark, but like as the water, this is salt water, kind of, like kind of burns a little bit. Eventually, your sight comes to you just in time as this creature that almost looks like this strange contorted swordfish just comes launching in your direction, and you see that its nose is extended outward, narwhal like, and it thrusts at you. But you're able to, at the very last second, just shift your body in such a way that the stab goes like right through the wall of this shack on which everyone's standing on top of. But you're underneath the water. I would say anybody who wants to look for Zenobe can go ahead and do so. Malik, you can roll standard difficulty, but the rest, anybody who's not in the water has to roll risky.
I'm going to invoke my right of vigilance. I close my eyes, I roll a discern religion, and on a success, I can see the souls of the creatures around me in my immediate area.
Okay,
So-
roll discern religion, yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I get the chance, Zenobe would also be casting a spell.
Okay.
And I would like to take a bite out of that fish because I want to be able to breathe underwater.
I failed real hard.
So Lucius, you try to like focus in. You utter the words of this ritual, this spell, this prayer,
Yeah.
and you feel they falter, and that is kind of a stunning moment, perhaps, because you are within the haven. You are at near the source of your power, and there's no possible way that it couldn't work. Perhaps you look back for a moment, maybe, towards where the meat tree is. And that's when you see that one of the pillars that you thought was a pillar, at least, much like when you were at the flightless owl, is beginning to sort of fold down in a far too controlled movement. And you see this massive worm that had been kind of camouflaging itself is just kind of twisted around this pillar. It's just carefully weaving its way down towards the meat tree, threatening it.
Okay.
Malik, you take a bite out of the fish. Go ahead and roll kill wild, I'll say.
Okay.
These things are not difficult to kill. It's just they're more dangerous as they're in the water. And in
They
Zenobe,
are sacred, though.
Yeah, they are. In Zenobe, you can go ahead and roll your spell too. Okay, critical success, Malik. It's not a very large fish, but and it's kind of stuck itself into the wall. And so you take that moment that you take your bite, and then your arms around it. You have it in a headlock. You have the ability to just kill it if you wanted to kill it, if that's your desire.
I only wish to consume enough of its flesh to allow me to share in Zenobe's gift.
And you,
in fact, after I'm done, I'll even pull it free of the building and let it go.
And so you wrench into it with your teeth. You can feel it kind of shiver as you do so, and then you pull it free, kind of push it away, and it thinks better now of attacking you and begins to weave away at that point. Okay. Zenobe, how'd you do?
I failed. I was attempting to create my portal to the Drowned Queen's domain underwater, but as I was casting the spell, these bees dove under the water and began bricking up the opening that I was creating so that I was not able to go through.
Okay. And I'll say, so then Dante and Zelena, both of you, I'll say, especially Dante, actually you first. You haven't even done anything. So if you have an action, if you want to look or do something, is there something you wanted to do?
Like I would generally, continue to try to hunt down Zenobe, and unless Lucius told me about the giant worm about to attack the tree.
It's up to Lucius.
Yeah. I don't think I have yet. I probably a bit in shock.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
in a
otherwise,
minute.
then I'll continue to try to discern which shape in the water is, which one might be Zenobe, which one might be Malik, which one might be those creatures. I'm not very good at discern,
Hunt.
so
I think hunt is okay if you wanted to use
I can
hunt.
do
That's
hunt.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, hunt
Yeah.
wild, but it will be risky as
Yeah.
you're outside the water. Okay.
Okay. Success at a
So-
cost.
So we'll say as you are you gonna fire? Are you like shooting into the water, or is there like how does like what is it you're looking to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, eventually, first I want to like make sure I'm looking at the right target, right? And then, like with water, I know enough from hunting that it's gonna like distort the angle, so I got to aim correctly, adjust, and then I'm gonna eventually try to take a shot at Zenobe.
Okay, so you've got the gun settled, and you're pretty sure you see Zenobe. You see like the arms and the legs kind of swimming. Then you see this just swarm of bees come down, and just underneath the surface, these crystals begin to form, and that kind of helps reinforce what you think is right. You take like a half a step forward, your foot slips a bit. You fire, you hit Zenobe, but as your foot slips into the water, you feel some tentacle just reach up, wrap around, and just pull you down into the water at this point. So you'll take, we'll call it, this is a D6. 4 points of stress. As you're pulled into the water, your leg kind of gets yanked from you. You feel your hip kind of feel suddenly like out of joint.
What kind of stress?
We'll call it blood.
Okay, I take 1.
Okay. And then let me roll for Fallout. I rolled a 10, which I'm assuming you're okay.
I only have a couple. Yeah, I'm good. I only have 3.
So you're able to stabilize yourself and kind of pull your leg back up before it pulls you all the way into the water and starts drowning you. The shot does go off.
Okay.
What is your normal attack damage here?
So normally it's a rifle. Let me get to equipment, right? It's a D8 normally, but now it's actually a D10 because I'm suffering from a fallout, and when I do, it bumps the dice up from an 8 to a 10.
Okay, go ahead and roll that damage. All right, so Zenobe, you finish the spell, or at least your spell is interrupted, and as you're trying to, like, the frustration builds as you are about to make it through and get home to the drowned queen. All of a sudden, a bullet flies through. You see the crystal kind of explode, and then whoosh, you feel it enter into your flesh. 7 points of blood.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you do that
hurt.
sound one more time? I don't think we got that clear. Thank you very much. 7 points of blood.
What's my fallout here?
Oh yeah, Fallout roll. 6.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 7 plus 8, so 15.
All right, it's only a minor one. We'll call. I don't know. We'll just say like bleeding or something. You're just gonna. You got shot
Bleeding
in the chest.
salt water?
Yeah, you got shot
Salt
in
water
the
into the
chest,
salt water.
and now maybe yours is like a little bit more viscous, but
Yeah. A little
we
more
can see like a little
gooey.
kind of gooey stain in the water or puddle in the water beginning. I don't know. Discoloration in the water begin to sort of give his position away. At that point,
Zenobe's hat and head would pop out of the water. You only just told me to stop.
Quit trying to flee. I said give yourself up and this got easy. And if you heard me, then you knew it. So you can't play stupid now.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's what I would have said before you ran into a pillar, you son of a bitch.
The hat just goes back under the water.
okay. Are you still trying to evade?
Yeah, but no. Like,
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. If I can heal if I stay submerged long enough.
Okay.
I'm actually trying to swim towards him if I can find him.
I would say you would probably be able to at this point with the crystals now forming, with the gunshot ringing out, with the communicate. You're able to track them down at this point.
The
Zelena,
bobbing of the head.
yeah, the bottom of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Zelena, are you looking to do anything?
I'm gonna talk into the nautical shell real quick
Okay.
and just Zenobe, I have a vial for you. You should come and drink it.
No.
Gee, why not?
Okay.
Zelena doesn't like that response.
Well,
Zelena
Zenobe doesn't
will
like
remember
choking on
this.
his own salt water, all right?
Yeah. So Malik will say you close the distance on Zenobe at this point. You see Zenobe underneath the water, submerged. This darkened, not red blood, but something's kind of pouring out of this chest wound he has. This crystalline structure just seems to be underwater, not moving. It's just kind of like affixed in space, and not kind of going with the current or anything. But Zenobe's right in front of you.
You'll see they're very crude, but like there might almost be like a slight gill-like structure on Malik's throat after eating the giant fish to be able to breathe underwater. He just kind of puts his hand on your chest because he can't talk. He doesn't know how to talk to water. He just points to go deeper, and he makes sure to swim to where his form is above yours so that you won't get shot further.
Phrasing.
Yeah, I would trust Malik at this point.
And the two of you submerge deeper beneath the water, like the full 10 or so feet down, kind of hiding out. It's getting darker. And Dante, Zelena, Lucius, the shadows that you pegged for Zenobe become faint and then kind of disappear. You saw Malik kind of swimming towards him. So I'm not sure if you'd be aware of what Malik's doing, but you do see like the two shadows converge, and then you can tell that they sink and kind of disappear from vision. Meanwhile, Lucius, are you doing anything as you look back once more? You see,
I gotta save that tree.
This snake is beginning to coil around that tree too. That giant, or just not snake, that giant worm is beginning to coil around the tree at this point. You do see what looks like a flare get shot up from over by the smokehouse.
Tree is priority. I will yell out. The tree is under attack. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my once a session unorthodox methods. And I am going to make a cage of bone around the tree to keep the snake off of it. I'm gonna give up my hand to do it.
You're gonna give up your hand? You're just gonna cut your hand off? Is that what you said?
It's gonna grow out. So I get to auto succeed on this, but I get to take all the stress for it. So
Okay.
yeah, just the bones
your
from
result
my
is a
hands
6, right? Yeah.
in fingers, just spray out and just like try and make a barrier between this thing and the snake.
Okay. So the stress would end up being technically 5. And we see your hand begin to grow malshapen, and as this worm is weaving down towards this tree, all of a sudden erupting up for those that are actually near the tree itself, erupting out of the earth and then up through the water, because the water is actually covering probably the bottom 4 or 5 feet of the tree itself, including the mound that it's on.
Yeah.
And you see these bones of perhaps whatever was in the soil that helped feed the tree's growth begin to create this strange kind of crisscrossing, almost octagonal-like skeletal structure. The worm kind of rears back, and you hear this roar, just like come out, and like echoes across the cavern. And then it launches itself and just kind of drops down from where it was hanging onto the courtyard. You can't see where it happened now at this point, because you can see the meat tree extends up and above the actual buildings, but it just dropped down into the courtyard water a ways away.
Yeah, and that's... We need to roll Fallout on that.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Because that takes me... I've got 9 right now.
So 6 will be minor. We can
Is there
treat
something
this.
hand related?
Is there something hand related? Good question. Let's see. I mean, we could just say that you're disarmed, for instance, but it's like your hand is no longer functional. And
Disarmed.
this is
How about
ongoing.
we do broken arm?
That works. Yeah, let's do
I
that.
like that.
Okay.
Seems like a
like
handy
disarm.
solution.
All right. So, what would everybody like to do now?
If I can't see Malik, and I now see this thing attacking the tree, I'm going to look at the tentacle that's holding me and go, I don't know if you can understand me, but my quarrel ain't with you, as I stare it down with my ability to scare the shit out of anything. As I'm going to see if it lets go, or otherwise I'm going to attack it.
Is there a roll, or is that just something you automatically get? I forget.
So it's called stare down.
Yeah.
It's a kill 6 ranged. Basically, your gaze functions as a weapon. It only works when your target can see you.
I think it's hilarious. I think you just say that, you stare down. It's probably a roll, but in this case, we'll say the tentacle lets go and retreats into the water as you stare it down. Because it didn't pull you.
I want to
in,
believe
so
he
you're
was
okay.
underwater as he was talking too.
Yeah.
Just stuck his face down underneath the water really quick. Okay. So, you are free of the tentacle. What do you want to do?
All right. I'm going to leave Zenobe to Malik. And I think we need to go take out that thing right now. So I'm going to start going that way.
Okay. So
whether it's running across the tops of the...
hopping.
Because I assume I can't shoot it from here, right?
No, it's too far. Like once it's gonna drop down, it's using now the buildings as cover, and you know that would probably be somewhere. It's basically right by the winery and the smokehouse, the buildings where all the survivors were essentially. And you start to hear the sounds of like gunshots go off at this point, as you know that some of the other hounds are probably trying to fight back.
Yeah, well, actually,
so there's still a threat to the worm is still a threat. I thought you said it went away. I'm trying to understand what's happening.
It
we
just
never
dropped
found
down.
the big worm.
Yeah, the worms were
Okay,
already
so-
inside the haven, so
Yeah.
like they were sort of all over the place. So
Like we've seen little worms, this is big worm.
Okay, so there's a big worm boss fight
Sort of, yeah.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it all right if Bashar shows up?
Yeah, I think so. I was waiting for them to get back to the city center, and then I was gonna pop up. Malik and Zenobe really quick. I just wanted to resolve once you guys dip down into the water. Like, what do you guys do after that?
Make love. Too fast. Okay.
Because Malik can't talk underwater, but he'll do his best because we've done the shared prayer once before to the drowned queen, and you'll see him make the hand motion in front of you of the same prayer that we did earlier with.
I tried. These damn bees. They stopped me.
He'll just kind of pat you on the shoulder reassuringly, motion for you to try again.
Everything's going to shit. The drowned queen was coming, and then these damn bees just ruin everything, and then I get shot, and they pull out my blood. What did I do to them?
Malik will just stir a finger in the water and then poke that same finger into at your heart. Do the motion
I don't know.
again.
You're right. You're absolutely right. The queen even warned me. It's because I love Zenobe more than the queen. You gotta rip Zenobe out of me. And I'll start pulling off my robes.
Oh no!
Cut out my heart.
No!
Good. It's the only way the drowned queen will take me back. You have to rip Zenobe out.
Malik for just 1 second wants to do a religion check because he wants to honor what Zenobe's asking for, but he's also just he knows Zenobe's a little touched. Like,
So
does
trying to
this
determine
feel
if he's being legit or if it's
exactly like Malik wants to take just a moment to do like a little bit of introspection, be like, does this seem legit or is this just Zenobe weirdness?
Can you imagine like the murder trial for Malik later on when he's trying to convince everybody, I didn't want to kill it. They both asked me to rip their heart out. Seriously.
They
told me to do this. Yeah, so
Dante give him a pardon. It'd be fine.
Discern religion, probably, I would say. If you're looking, yeah.
I do have both of those. Oh man.
Weird session, man.
I didn't want anybody to die. Oh no. Or maybe
Zenobe,
yes.
are you? I mean, Zenobe is the one to answer. So is this? Is this like? What do you think?
With critical success, let's say you can peer into the heart of Zenobe. He feels at war emotionally with the love for the drowned queen, and yet he also is consumed with himself and his own ego, which is like the heart for him. That's why he named the heart after himself. So he feels like to get the heart out, he has to rip out his heart. Like he's being perfectly genuine. He wants to give himself to the drowned queen.
You'll see the claws flicker again with their piercing quality. Malik's just having a very tough day today.
Oh, poor Malik.
And he will hug you and try to comfort you as best he can as he pulls the heart from your chest.
Man, having the Temple of Doom, 2 of your party members.
I wanted to save people today.
I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it'd be Jeremy.
You rip his heart out, and he doesn't seem to feel pain. In fact, he enjoys it because he feels enlightenment at the same time. And whatever barrier that these bees were putting up is finally breaking down, along with the barriers he had within himself. And you rip his heart, and his body begins to soften, and it itself kind of like begins to turn to water, but a little bit thicker and darker than the water around, and it just begins to settle on the ground below. And you can see that his physical body is becoming a portal to the drowned queen's realm right there.
Peace be with you, I hope.
And
So-
I'm becoming a herald of the drowned queen.
Yeah. So, Malik, as this happens, you do hear a voice suddenly emerge from within the portal. It's a voice you're familiar with at this point. You've heard it before. It is the drowned queen herself. You hear the voice. You hear, "My herald has summoned you. Come. The door is open. Absolution awaits, dear Malik." But there's like this weird tone to it that you're not sure how inviting it is, you know? But you hear her. The door, like Zenobe just sacrificed themselves and created this portal.
Can I describe my zenith beat as well?
Absolutely.
So you hear the drowned queen coming from that door, and whether you move towards it or not, that door begins to widen and grow, and out of it, a massive coral structure throne begins to rise up. The landmark you're in is half submerged in water. That already happened. And from the depths of In the center, a throne room rises, bearing the immortal majesty of the drowned queen. This is now her dominion, and Zenobe would be her most trusted advisor, but he's dead, so let's say it's Malik. The remade landmark is utterly under her control.
Okay.
Malik,
A man of faith.
you are suddenly encompassed by this coral structure. You're at the throne of the drowned queen. Her hand is sort of like reached out to you. What does she look like, Zenobe? Her true form.
Her true form would be that of just an octopus. It's more like a crustacean. Like there's shells that move, and they actually have the same like soft malleability as an octopus would have, but it's like armored, just as Cthulhu-esque as you can imagine that.
Tentacle kind of, it's instead of a hand, it's a tentacle that seems to like sort of extend itself down to you, Malik. Like as in like one of those moments where you bow before to place it on your head. It's kind of expecting that of you.
Thank you. I hope your worshiper has pleased you. Zenobe was zealous.
So this tentacle comes down. You see like this suction cups kind of pulsing as it just very gently places this tentacle atop your head, Malik. And it begins to sort of weave around you ever so slightly until it kind of encompasses you entirely. And then begins to slowly pull you in. You see this like, I don't know, we say an eye or a series of eyes, something, some lens suddenly opens. And you see this huge like color shifting iris. There's a moment where you start to see images beginning to appear in it. Images of yourself, Malik. And you realize you're almost kind of seeing your life just flash before your very eyes. But it's not just your life, it's every wrong thing you've ever done. Every mistake, every betrayal, all of them in this rapid succession that to you doesn't even feel rapid. What are some of the things that we might be seeing?
I see myself jealous of those who live in a fine life in the spire, while my people are not allowed in. Why not us? Why shouldn't we feel the same pleasure, be treated the same way? And I gather my people, and we find the fallen angel that we think is dead, and we find the miracles that can be processed by consuming its flesh, and I place myself into a position of power, and I trade favors for those who have more resources to trade than others. I trade myself in finery, I trade favors, and I lead a great many astray. I lead a great many into sinful and selfish ways. And I continue to do so. And I weave lie upon this life I build for myself until it all crumbles. And then a great many more lives are ruined. Not until my brothers betray me that I see the error of my ways. Not until Dante saves me when he is sent to kill me.
The tentacle begins to kind of unravel as it does, as it's pulling away. You see like the water around you has just become discolored in some way. not red, it wasn't blood. And you notice as the tentacles unwrapping, you see all these wounds all over your body where like the suctions of the tentacle have stuck. And you see some strange kind of vapor, liquid is just pouring out of them. And like a sin eater, they're just sort of stirring in front of you all of your past deeds, your mistakes, your betrayal in physical liquid form, just swirling as if like the tentacle is pulling them out of you. And it just disperses in the salt water of the drowned green. And you hear the voice of the drowned green once more kind of echo in your head. And you just hear, "You are forgiven, my champion. Go defend my realm." The tentacle just releases and you're just floating there now, right in front of her.
Oh boy. Thank you. I would gladly give up all that I've stolen. The power and the flesh consumed within me, let them be released so that I can give back some portion of what I've taken. I give myself freely to become something greater.
You hear the voice come up. "The realm is threatened. You have a duty to perform."
And I think at that point, like, there will be like the cracking of bones, the skeleton kind of beginning to swell beyond what the current form can contain. He's already got those ribs that were exposed from that horrible thing earlier. All those ribs will just kind of break free, spread wide, and start growing longer and cracking and bending into a weird shape where it's almost like this one giant wing that's unskinned and unfeathered.
So as like this horrific transformation, painful probably to look at, takes place, like our camera kind of just fades out as like Malik's new form is beginning to kind of take place. And then we'll open back up at the meat tree where Lucius and Dante and Zelena have by themselves, whatever Zenobe and Malik have done is you're unaware of. You do feel like this strange rumbling in the haven itself. You do see that Lucius's skeletal construct seems to be working, seems to be protecting. And you also notice as the three of you come bounding across the rooftops towards where the mound, the central chambers are of the Bloodhaven, you see kind of sloshing around, some throwing from windows, some kind of what looks to be like on these small rafts with makeshift weapons, spears, and this massive worm that is now thrashing around in the water at the base and like attacking all of these different villagers here and there, including one. Adam, what is your character doing?
So Bashar right now is this the young Noel that you all saved earlier, a long time ago, if I remember right. And he's got this hood on, and he's got this like really like long tuft of hair in front of his face, and he's got this massive greatsword that he's wielding, and he's got this skull over his snout, and he like kind of flips the hair back, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Because he's an edgy boy. He's a deadwalker.
He's just done. He's just converted recently.
Yeah.
It's been a rough time since you guys have been gone.
Yeah.
And you see, and you're amongst this like group of survivors who are now like battling this strange like verm who's trying to get to the meat tree, who is trapped inside of it. In fact, in this haven now, and is kind of thrashing out. So, what do the four of you want to do?
Bashar will be like, death comes for us all. You want to help me make it come for that first?
It's just what the hell?
Wonderful.
I love you, Adam.
That's it. That's the end of the campaign. We're wrapping it up here.
We're done.
Thank
We
you,
have to close on
everybody.
that.
Anyone have
That's
any
it.
Uh-huh.
There's nowhere to go but down from there. Oh goodness. Okay. Giant Verm, Dante, Lucius, Zelena, and Bashar.
So, I got a question. So, is the water high enough that the other tankard is underwater, or could we actually drive that through the water?
You could potentially drive it through the water. The water is somewhere, depending upon the height, it's like between 5 and 10, but these are kind of high up tank-like things, so you could potentially do it. Yeah, you could potentially drive it.
Because I want to turn the tankard into like a flamethrower, and we're going to burn that worm to death.
Okay.
That's Dante's plan.
Okay.
So he's going to explain that to the others as we're running. You know, we're going to get the tankard, we're going to set this thing on fire, and we're going to keep setting it on fire until it stops moving. And then its body can fertilize the meat tree. And everyone wins.
Okay, Lucius, Zelena, and Bashar, what are you thinking of doing here?
We gotta save the tree and shit. Ooh. Okay.
How much space is in between that cage? Like, could the person fit through it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Bashar is like, catch you on the flip side. And he like dives into the water and starts burrowing into the ground with his bare hands. As he's got an ability called dirt under the fingernails that he can dig through the earth and mow with his bare hands as though he had a shovel. Oh, nope. I thought that was much quicker. Never mind. He's not going to do that because it would take him way too long.
Okay. All right.
Never mind.
right.
No catching us on the flip
Does he
side?
still?
Aw,
Does he
pet
still?
He dives.
He still says that.
Bangs his head, comes back.
He jumps out. He jumps out, and then he goes charging towards that worm as fast as he can.
Okay. And you're just like hopping off like what looks like debris just floating in the water, stone, rock, etc.
Yep. He's going to charge towards it and try and strike it with his big old edgy Buster sword.
Okay.
Because it's cool, man.
This
Saw it in a game once.
Okay. Domain
Has to be
is
awesome.
you could take Cursed or Warren, and
Okay.
it's kill,
All right.
and it's also dangerous.
Oh, awesome. That's fine. All right.
I want him to just go up right off the bat, just get swallowed, just get you on the flip side. Worm swallows. And that's all there is in Bashar. Oh goodness.
Oh no.
Oh my god. All right.
Well, it's nice to know you, Adam. You got a third character ready?
It's like that movie Reign of Fire where Matthew McConaughey did
It's
something
so
really
much like-
badass and jumped towards a dragon to kill it, and the dragon just eats him.
Yes.
I just love that so much. Okay. Let's see. Just double checking. Oh dear. Okay, buddy. This is gonna be roll stress D8. Okay. I think it only. Okay, it rolled. I don't know why it says roll so much. You take 8 stress, 8 blood,
Oh, fun.
and let's do. You got a 3.
Ooh,
I
great.
imagine I imagine that's not great. So, describe what goes wrong as you go launching yourself at this giant worm.
Well, the first thing he did wrong was hold his arms behind him as he ran. And
You've got
then,
to.
he
You've
gets
got to.
he gets
That's how you
closer.
get extra speed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He gets closer to it, and he's jumping like from obstacle to obstacle, right? And then he like catches his foot on the last obstacle, and he's holding this sword, and he falls flat on his face, and he like cuts himself on his own sword.
If you fall on your face, let's say, can we do spitting teeth? Do you just like
Yeah,
face
yeah,
plant
great.
and break some of your teeth?
Yeah.
Okay. So any action that requires you to speak or look respectable is risky. So it
That
won't
was
affect you in
already
the combat,
risky.
but it's hilarious. Okay. All right. So
Just trying to take the edge out of the boy.
Bashar just suddenly just like he hit a phase and he goes charging in, face plants, teeth splitting. He looks back at you. His face is mangled all of a sudden. Dante, you're going to get the tankard, right? Okay, so Dante runs off to get the tankard. No roll necessary. You're just going off screen for a moment. Lucius and Zelena, what do you two do? Dante did share his plan before he ran off.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible plan. You know, using a flamethrower around a tree.
There's all this water.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? The tree. Surely the tree has the power to save itself. So I am going to. I'm gonna try and convene with the tree. Yeah, this is just a grab at me to hit that zenith beat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, for sure.
And I'm thinking abilities that I have. Ministrations as a prayer. I don't know if that fits, but I could try that Rite of Vigilance again, where I try to see the soul of the meat tree.
Okay.
See if that gives me the information I need to let the tree defend itself.
Roll it, and I would say take a knack. There's no reason. You're one of the most devoted to the meat tree's
Sure.
cause. I see no reason why it wouldn't be willing, especially under threat like this, to reveal something to you.
Okay, this is where I'm gonna go sideways. Okay. I got a critical success.
So, as you're kind of praying, as you're going through whatever of the scripture that you have developed for this, you're focusing the water slashing around. You're hearing gunshots ring out. People are stabbing. You see someone just gets lifted up and gets swallowed by it really fast.
Yeah.
You look down on the water and you notice that the water has, at the base of the mound where the tree is planted, has begun to glow, has this glowing kind of pulsing red. And you realize after a moment that you're kind of seeing into the roots as they kind of dip down, and there's some kind of underground reservoir of roots, some sort of like pocket of heart energy, of echo that just seems to be feeding the tree. And as you're doing so, and as it's giving you kind of this x-ray vision almost, and you see there's all of these kind of adolescent worms, not an adult one like one of these great worms that you're fighting here, but those other ones that you fought, that you and Dante fought. There's probably a whole cluster of like 20 or 30 of them that are just kind of snapping away and trying to rip apart whatever kind of amniotic sac is down there that is kind of feeding into the tree. And it seems to be trying to communicate that is somehow limiting and that's what's causing the meat tree to kind of wither. That's what's causing the meat tree not to have like its full semblance of power, because that very thing that it's been using to power itself is under threat, out of sight.
Okay. Well, the problem is down. And you know what? I've got this new Zenith ability.
Okay.
I'm going to use it.
It's
Ascension.
What is it?
It's Ascension. And I'm going to flavor it as I transcend the need for mortal flesh and the spirit of the tree appears before me, burning away my mortal coil. I take on an angelic form. And I get to do a bunch of super cool attack shit.
Okay.
But at the end of it, I become transformed into the new meat tree.
Okay. So, what does this new angelic form look like, Chuck?
It is just imagine your classic angel, just made of bark and twigs and weeping blood everywhere. Like, I
Fleshy
don't know.
bark, though.
What's that?
Fleshy bark, because it's
Fleshy
a meat tree.
bark. Yeah.
Are you growing
just-
in form and size
Oh, yeah.
right in front
Just
of
growing
Zelena?
meat tentacles raising me into the air.
Bashar, you look back and you see suddenly the form of Lucius, who had been in like quiet contemplation and prayer, focusing. Suddenly, this massive, fleshy end dripping blood. You have these huge
Whoa.
claws. And you see, Lucius, that you still have that kind of glowing X-ray vision. The discernment's there, and you know that until you get underneath there and destroy that nest of dozens of these worms that are feeding on it. Not only are they feeding on it, but you're pretty sure that by feeding on it, this is what turns them into the size of worm that the rest of the villagers are now fighting. And you would probably conclude that there was a much larger reservoir that over time has been sapped away by these creatures.
Okay.
So what do you want to do?
That's my target. I gotta get down there. I gotta
So-
fight these things.
Just see this swan dive suddenly off the edge of one of these roofs of this tall, fleshy, now bark-covered Lucius, who just does this bullet down into the earth. You see the cobblestone rip up from underneath the water, this huge explosion of water and dirt and flesh and cobblestone thrown everywhere, and like a small vortex of water begins to form as Lucius burrows down deep. Zelena, what are you doing?
Well, besides laughing at Edgeboy, no,
Of course.
I'm just trying to take in everything that's going on, but my main threat that I am aware of right now is that giant worm. So I think I'm going to take true form and try to make my way over to the giant worm.
Okay, so what does your true form look like? Describe it for us. A lot
Uh,
of
so
transformation
my-
happening.
Yeah, I know. So my skin is starting to skitter, and I kind of hunch over. And in my hand, I still had that nautical shell, and I just crushed it.
For good measure.
And for good measure, I'm gonna go ahead and like rip off a little bit of armor I had on and let out a roar and turn into a different form of a wolf. And this one's a little bit more bloody. And so just gonna try to get across the water, jumping across to get to the worm.
Yeah, and this thing's so huge that you can find any spot on it to really attack at this point. So it's not really an issue of finding, there's no need to close distance. It's just launch yourself and you will find a coiled piece of the worm itself. So
Lovely.
you roll mastery on hunt and kill checks. So this will be kill. So it'll be kill, and then you can choose either cursed or warren for your domain. You don't have either of those. So, and it is going to be dangerous. So, do you remember how to roll?
So you said it's not a domain, but how do I unclick a domain?
Domain.
You
so
would you would select cursed or Warren, but you may
Mhm.
not have it. That's what.
Yeah.
You
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right. So,
Them's the dice.
okay. So you leap off in this true monstrous form. You sink your teeth and your claws into this chunk of the worm, kind of around its midsection, and you can feel like your teeth pierce that outer membrane. You don't feel any blood rush into your mouth as you do so, but you do kind of feel this sudden jerk of the creature as its head whips around. This lamprey-like vertical mouth comes down and snaps at you. So it's going to try to rip you off of it and kind of just throw you to the side and smash you into one of the nearby buildings. So that's going to be D8, 5 stress. It's going to be blood. And it's going to be 4 on the fallout. Do you, I assume that's probably going to cause a fallout for you?
I assume.
So you just took 5 stress. Let me look at your character sheet. So
Yeah. 5 stress, and you rolled a 4.
yeah, so yeah, you're gonna take let's call it you know what I mean? Okay. We'll just call it, I don't know. We'll call it limping. As you kind of get yourself righted, you feel one of these wolf-like legs is kind of maimed in some way. So essentially, if you ever try to rapidly move or try to be stealthy, like, your movements are difficult. It's not going to affect your ability to attack, though. Okay, let's kick it over to Dante then. So Dante, you make it over towards the tank. You see that there's all these other creatures in the water now, but you do notice something, actually. You do notice that the Drowned Queen's animals, those swordfish, those octopi and squid-like creatures, are like fighting these verms that are remaining there. You can see there's something going on. It's almost as if the very creatures that were let in from the ceiling are somehow kind of turned. That something happened to cause them to sort of defend this realm.
Good. Let them kill each other. Then that's less for me to deal with at the end. All right, let's get this thing going.
Nice.
As I'm going to start driving into the middle of the town, and I'll look at the other hounds and the other people. Like, come with me if you want to live.
So you see a few of them look at you, and they're firing as they're like kind of covering you're getting into the tank. So you climb up, and they're covering fire as like a tail of the verm comes around, tries to sideswipe you as you're climbing in. So what do you do with this thing?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get to where I can basically at least spray it down and then either set it on fire or that's kind of the general plan. Yeah, because basically, yeah, that's the plan. Either create a flamethrower out of it or just have so much oil out there and around on it that any kind of spark's going to set it ablaze.
Okay, let's make it hunt, as you're just trying to kind of like aim or situate. It's not so much kill, it's more just trying to kind of get it in the right location. So we'll call it hunt, and then again, it's still going to be worn or cursed for the domain.
Okay,
I'll call
wouldn't
it
be able to
risky
do Haven.
since you're not directly attacking it, but you're just getting it into position, sort of like a setup maneuver. We'll call it risky because you are driving through water. This thing is thrashing around wildly, so we'll call it risky.
Okay. Oh, failure.
Okay, so you drive into the center. You see everything's thrashing around. You can see you pull up and you start driving just as you see this strange creature just leap off one of the buildings where you had left Lucius and Zelena, and just dive into the water while Zelena in wolf form leaps after this section of the verm itself. You see its head whip past, kind of grab Zelena's wolf form, throw it, and smash her against the side of one of these buildings. You take that opportunity to spin around. You kind of do this almost drifting maneuver to get to the point where you can spray the hose in such a way. But we're gonna call it we'll call it supply, actually, as we'll say some of the spire black maybe ruptures and some of the tank starts leaking out, so you don't necessarily have as much. So this is going to be 4 supply stress, we'll say, and you lose some of the spire black that just sort of feeds into the water itself. So
Okay.
now that'll be a 10, so you're probably good with Fallout.
Nope. I
you're
have a
not.
shit ton of supply.
Oh shit! Do you
Yeah.
really?
So, yeah. Oh yeah. No. So I take a Fallout. Yeah.
I think it explodes actually. So if it's a Fallout with a 10, that's a major Fallout. So
Uh huh.
you kind of do this drift maneuver and you smash into the side of the creature, and then the creature's size is so much that it's able to almost bounce the tanker back, and you see it collapse into where Alcoholics liquor store was, and then it just explodes. Now you're in the truck too, but you're able to, at the last second before the explosion happens, throw yourself out. So I will say, really, the only fault you have for this is that you've lost the tankard. Like the tanker's exploded.
Because I'm
So there's
totally
now this-
willing to take Fallout, because the more Fallout I have, the more blood protection I have.
No, you have one, but like just put
Okay.
down destroyed tanker
Alright.
because it's supplies.
Destroyed
so it's-
tanker.
yeah,
Got
that's
it.
fine. Okay. All right. Bashar, I think let's come back to you for a moment. You had a face plant. You just saw Lucius do something insane. You just saw Zelena get thrown to the side. You just saw a tanker explode and Dante leap out afterwards. There's still this horrifically powerful verm that is kind of thrashing around in the middle of your haven. What does Bashar want to do?
Well, Bashar is gonna say, "No, it makes me bleed my own blood," and his invidious specter is going to form in that he can mark D4 stress to mind to roll with mastery whenever he attacks for the remainder of the current situation. This is going to need it. And his specter comes forth like out of the air. You see this like dark black skeleton in a shroud holding this like big scythe as like his sword turns into a scythe, and that he's gonna go running at this
so
worm.
Frickin' edgelord, I love him.
Oh yeah. He's like gonna leap out towards it, just like Stephen was describing earlier. We're gonna see if he's gonna get eaten as he swings this scythe towards this worm.
The same rolls before. Dangerous difficulty. Yeah, man.
Only thing is now he has mastery. Oh
Don't
wait,
keep
I
your
need
arms
to
behind you.
I need to mark D4 stress to mind. So you want to roll that for me, Jeff?
3.
Ooh, fun. All right. So do I gain a fallout from that?
11. I think you're
Okay.
good, right? All right.
Yeah, because I just got a fallout earlier. So now we're going to roll. Where it's a, did you say? Okay, it's kill and cursed.
It is kill, cursed, or Warren if you have Warren instead.
I have both. No, yeah, I do have both. So then I'm going to roll with mastery as he's in the middle of the air. All right, it's a success at cost.
Okay. So how much damage do you do?
Well, it would have been a D10, but this weapon is tiring, and since I failed the first time, it's now a D8.
Okay, roll your D8. You actually hit the thing, so that's really good, man. All right, 6 points of damage. So you lash out with this scythe. You carve through the midsection of the verm. You do, in fact, slice deep into the membrane, the exterior membrane of this creature. So much so that you see fluid burst out of it, and you know that you have actually harmed this thing. Now, the membrane itself, that kind of outer crusty, kind of glistening membrane, is
Does it go
somewhat
insane?
resistant. It does not, but you do manage to bypass its protections and do damage to it because it does actually have protection. Okay, but it's at a cost as you prick this thing, You did damage to this thing. You are the first, actually, I think, who's actually done damage to this thing. All the bullets you see are just kind of bouncing harmlessly off. And this thing suddenly reaches back. Its giant vertical mouth closes down on Bashar.
Yes.
Oh, God. You're doing like the end of Men in Black. Eat me. 6 points of blood as it chomps down on you.
All right. Well, roll that stress.
How close would Dante be to Bashar?
If you want to be close, we can make. Yeah, we say you're pretty close. You dove
Okay.
out, and so you're floating around in the water. You climb up on top of a raft, and you see this kid just lunge after with a strange dark scythe, like his hair. Perfect.
One's for
Perfectly
situation.
in front of one eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, when an NPC would direct their attention towards another ally, I'm gonna have them attack me instead.
So as it goes to swoop down, its head swooping down towards Bashar, the explosion, maybe a chunk of the fire just lands on top of it, and its head just whips towards the quick fire, and it sees you there climbing up, and it takes this opportunity to instead chomp down onto you. So 6 points of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Do you take any?
I'll take 2.
All right, so fallout for you, 4.
I'm good. I just cleared everything, so.
Dante, Zelena, Esme, you all are by this water. You saw Lucius dive in his strange form. We'll get to that in a second. But then you notice that suddenly 20 yards away from the center, like kind of off in the direction of where you saw Zenobe and Malik kind of disappear, you see the water just begin to just sort of bubble and foam and bubble and foam. And you see something begin to emerge from it. Malik, what do they see as you emerge from the water?
I believe I'll now invoke my Zenith ability. I will take upon my angelic form and become a towering angel, it says here. So it is no small thing that comes rising forth from water. You see the large single wing now lit up in the same energy you once saw come from my piercing claws. You see this strange amorphous body that is a culmination of all the various things that I have eaten and drawn power from. You'll see the queen owl that we had consumed earlier, now that has grown strange feathers that now grow into a beak at my maw. There's the oil-filled creatures that have now taken the form of one of my arms. There's dripping acid, much like the toads that have been eaten. There are pauldrons and a cestus born of kelp and the orchids that Esme had led me to. For the most part, it seems very much, for shorthand, like I would think a strange mishmash of Evangelion and the nature god from Princess Mononoke, because there is kind of a watery consistency between all of this. What skeleton there is of Malik just barely remains and glows, but it is a watery form and all these other things held together by this water. And this towering form reaches deep into the ocean's depth, rips up a coral reef like a shield, and goes charging at the worm.
And what do you do as you charge in at this thing? You'll get a shot or a swing. What is it you can do?
I would smash into it with the reef, and basically I get to... I don't have the stats for what a Towering Angel does, but I'll just do what Malik would do.
Okay.
I'll try to pin this beast as best I can with my shield, and then tear into it with my new maw and do the crushing bite, which would in turn make this a less dangerous situation for my friends.
Okay. I'm gonna say for you, I mean, like we're kind of just riffing here. We'll make it. We'll downgrade the difficulty for your attack. I think it's fair to call your attacks piercing.
Mm-hmm.
So roll your normal attack. We'll call it piercing, and we'll say it's only risky. And
was it dangerous before?
It was dangerous before, so it's down to risky.
Down to risky.
And that will also make it good for everybody else that might be attacking it from now on. And yeah, go ahead and just roll your attack. You have I would say you
Like-
can have a knack for your angelic form. We'll say it's just an extra die, just to help with
Okay.
you, and we'll go from
In
there.
Zenobe's guiding spirit.
Okay, yeah, and
Because I already had
Okay.
mastery in this, so what I'll do is I'll just click help from Zenobe, so that will give me my extra. All right.
all right. So succeed at cost. So you're able to succeed. Describe how you like as you said it's a maul you're using.
Yes, because I will continue to use. I'm using the coral reef as a shield, but it's still unarmed attacks. That's how I maintain my armor piercing ability. So the shield drives into it, and this is more a matter of me putting myself in harm's way to make sure it does not bite anything else or attack any other foes or my team. And I basically just I bash into its body with one arm, put my own hand into its maw so that it would be biting at me to pull it up, and I could then bite into its throat.
So as you bite into its throat, like you get it underneath that vertical mouth, and your head suddenly kind of exposes like a chunk of your neck, and then it's able to sort of contort its strange head, this sort of very limp-like head around, and almost curve its mouth to then bite back into you. So let's do damage back to you is going to be 5 points of stress. We'll call your attack. I don't know. We'll call it. Let's roll a d12. You're a freaking angel. Roll a d12.
Okay. And does me recently consuming something let me do my brutal on that?
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. Boo.
Okay. So 6, I think, was the better one. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 6 points, and it's piercing. All right. So as you bite into it, your mouth is just filled with this bitter, horrific taste. It's just you almost recoil at the sort of the flavor of it. It's you've never tasted something so foul, as it begins to kind of coat and drift down your neck, down your mouth, and down your throat. Okay. We're gonna cut from one angel to another. As Lucius now, you have like pushed down through the water. You've ripped through the earth. You're now in this strange pocket, this sort of underground cavern, which is filling a little bit with water. You see what looks like a dozen, 2 dozen of these adolescent worms that are, again, they're like 20 to 30 feet long. They kind of taper off quite immensely towards the very end. They all have that vertical kind of lamprey mouth. They're a much smaller version of the creature that's up above, and you can see that they are just kind of feeding on this. It's not, when you look at it, it looks almost like this sack of strange, like heart glow, like echo, like manifest, and you can see the roots of the tree have kind of reached down and are dipping into it, and they're trying to draw power from it, but it's just they're being kind of starved out. As you burst through, suddenly all of these creatures just turn their attention to you. Lucius, what do you want to do down here?
I want to holy meat smite the crap out of all these things.
Okay. So go ahead and let's say roll. Let's see. Just kind of looking. I'm doing a quick look at like angel stat blocks because you are technically the angel form too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and roll. These are not. All right. Roll it standard, and then roll. We'll call it.
So.
Good.
And on the thing, it says I roll a d10 when striking at those that would threaten the faithful or desecrate sacred ground.
Perfect.
Anything else I do auto fails.
Okay.
So I don't know how to.
What's the
make it
name of
just
the
roll.
ability you took, by the way?
Ascension. I've got it on my sheet at the bottom.
All right, I gotta refresh. That just doesn't that doesn't update for me. All right. Yeah, I mean, like half the people have used their. Actually, more than half have used their Zenith. I don't think there's going to be another session. Lucius. So, oh, I see what happens at the end too. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have hyperdimensional claws and appendages. They inflict D10 damage and possess the piercing tag. You roll 60-10 when striking at those who would threaten the faithful. So roll 60-10. Standard's fine, and we're treating this basically like a swarm.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. So what is your best? Your best is a 9, so it's not crit, but it is a success, no cost. So then go ahead and roll D10. Okay.
7.
And then just describe how you wrench through what is essentially like, we'll call it like 12 to 15 of these larger adolescent worms. What does it look like as you're attacking through them?
All of these arms and bones just come streaking out from my fleshy wings and just like grabbing and squishing them in these long skeletal hands. So just like, yeah.
Yeah. They're crawling over top of you. They're swarming you. You're just ripping them off your body, grinding them down in your hand, throwing them, teeth ripping apart here and there, and you're just being dragged around and down through them. Every time you kill one, you can see that one of the roots that it was sort of able to detach from one of the worms and kind of reinsert itself into that echo sac, and you can feel like in your body, even amidst the fight that you're having now with this swarm, you can even feel like your power, your faith almost manifesting in a stronger manner.
Nice.
All right, we'll go back up to the surface.
Yeah.
Dante and Zelena, what are you two doing here? Let's check back in with you.
Dante would just be taking shots at this thing. Although he's also tempted to try to stare it down. You know, he guess that's what he does.
You can do that. You can try.
But the gun theoretically will have a better chance. We'll see.
It's now risky, so it's no longer. So anyone who attacks this thing is no longer rowing dangerous due to Malik. Now you guys see it. It's a freaking kaiju fight right now in the middle of your haven between this massive angel that looks. You see all these different chunks on it. That, I mean, Dante, you're pretty friendly with Malik. You've seen him eat many strange things. You see all these different embodiments of him. Maybe even the eyes itself. Maybe there's something about the eyes of the creature that almost has that same kind of serious visage that Malik is. Whatever it is, it's fighting the freaking worm. So that's all that really matters right now. So go ahead and roll kill, Warren or cursed, and then at risky.
Okay. Too bad it's risky.
So you take aim and you fire, and you see despite the size of this thing, like it's moving pretty quickly. Nonetheless, your bullet hits it square in the middle of its carapace, but at the same time, like your other hounds are kind of refilling their guns and firing, and they've been firing and they're running out of ammo, and they're like, we can't get through the carapace, and you're having the same issue. And this somehow the rumble between these kaijus is causing all these waves to churn around. Debris is flying. Chunks of the smokehouse and the bloodwinder are flying off. Glass is just flying everywhere from the windows, and you just happen to catch a bit of debris. So we'll call it. It's gonna be D8 for you. 2 points of stress. We'll call it blood. And
good.
Your ins do fall. So you didn't actually take any, right?
I didn't take any damage to no
so-
fallout. Yeah.
All right, so ignore that roll. Okay.
Sure.
Zelena. Now that there's this giant kaiju fight happening, you've seen Lucius convert into that strange angel himself and dive into the water and disappear. You feel a rumbling in the earth as well. And for a moment, you even see, like, strangely enough, it's almost as if the meat tree is beginning to kind of straighten some of its withered branches. It's almost gaining strength. Zelena, what do you want to do?
Since I am now kind of limpified, I am going to stay in my true form, but instead I am going to cast Accentuate on it as well.
Okay. What does that do?
You pluck the blood out of their mouth and nose.
Okay, so you do the the same thing you did as Zenobe. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, so you focus. You kind of reach out your leg, kind of feeling a little numb. You reach out.
Mhm.
It's gonna be risky because of Malik, so you don't have to roll it dangerous anymore. But same roll as before. Same roll as Zenobe, except make it risky.
Okay. Nada.
Okay. Yeah, you just kind of focus and like you're trying to find the blood within it, but it's buried so deep that it like you're just reaching, you're focusing your mind, your spirit, your echo is trying to delve and bypass that carapace. But in addition to like its physical membrane, there's some sort of spiritual membrane that's protecting it, and you just can't reach far enough in. But nonetheless, it kind of senses you doing it, and you see the tail end of its body kind of whip towards you in your direction. It misses you, but you notice at the last second that there's like this sort of spiritual echo that seems to follow along it. And so we're going to call this echo stress, since you did cast a spell, and it's having some kind of strange reaction as this comes at you. So this is going to be echo stress. Call it 3. So go ahead and mark 3 points of echo stress. And this will be a fallout because it's only a 1. So
Unless she had 3 echo protection.
Yeah, I don't think she does that. I was looking at it before. So what do you want to call this? I always have to. I'm flipping around in my book. I'm sorry. Lots going on. So let's see. Don't mind me.
Chuck, I love that you had the art ready for the meat angel.
You know, I had to do some quick mid journeying to get this.
It looks great.
Yeah. Well, I guess while we're waiting on Jeff, I got a new joke that I could tell you all.
Let's hear it.
You want to
Gotta
hear
hurry
it?
up. Hurry up.
Okay.
Now go.
Star Wars. R2 is short for what?
I don't know.
R2D2.
Hmm.
Chewie is short for what?
Chewbacca.
Yeah. Annie is short for what?
Anakin.
Couple limbs.
True. What is Luke short for?
A stormtrooper.
You got it. Good job.
Okay, so Zelena, this like spectral like residue of its tail whips out at you. And those of you, like we'll say Bashar, Dante, as you kind of see Zelena kind of reach out with her spell, she just and disappears. This could be a glitch. You disappear, only reappearing after every other player has acted at least once. So
Nice.
you're gone. Dante,
Hello, Matrix.
what would you like to do?
Dante's going to shout at the others. All right, we're going to focus fire on the plate there, as he's going to point out to where he wants. We're going to shoot on 3. And he's going to silently pray to himself that it hopefully goes better than when he tried to coordinate with Lucius, and we just completely flubbed all of those rolls against all of those worms. But, you know, failure is kind of Dante's thing. So we'll see how this goes.
I'll tell you what, take a knack since you're getting the other hounds to help you out, as it's now a firing squad that's firing up at it.
Mm-hmm. So risky, kill, still Warren or cursed.
Same domains.
Yeah, can't use Warren. Darn. Or I can't use Haven. All right. But I'll use a mastery. Okay. And we'll see how we roll. Oh, nope. Still failure.
Bullets are just not piercing this thing at all.
Even though they have piercing.
Not good enough piercing?
Yeah, they just don't have good enough piercing.
6 points of stress as you fire, and again, it's probably just the chaos. You just get knocked asunder, you get thrown off the whatever debris you're standing on amongst the water, and you get thrashed around. We'll call this fortune stress, as it just seems like you keep firing and missing. It's probably wearing on the confidence a bit, I would think. So 6 stress to fortune, and it's gonna be 6 on the dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's another. That's a yeah. All right, increasing that
That's another fallout.
blood protection.
Let's see. Do you have any fortune protection?
No.
Okay. We'll say collateral. The next time you mark stress, a nearby ally marks the same amount, and then you remove the fallout. Okay, Bashar, you're here as well. You just saw the group of the. I love your hair, by the way, Adam. You just saw the group of the Hounds fire. You saw Zelena out of existence. You see this giant angel-like creature that's fighting the worm itself and is doing damage to it. You could see that there's blood dripping down from the mouth of the lamprey, and there's blood dripping down from the mouth of this angelic creature that's terrifying to look at and behold. Bashar, what would you be doing?
Bashar is going to try and flip his hair back, but it's immediately going to come right back down in front of his eye. He's going to look up towards the angel and he'll say, "Will you smile again for me?" As he's looking up towards Malik. And at that, he's going to say, "And they'll know us by the trail of dead," as he starts like trying to reap into the worm. I'm quoting emo songs in case you're wondering why I'm saying this.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So then he starts reaping into this like it's a whole bunch of wheat, and he's going to try and attack this.
All right, go ahead and roll it. Risky now.
He did call up, and I've been a little distracted with what's going on. But now that somebody's called out to me, I suppose I will assist.
Okay, take an assist. What does it look like, Malik, as you assist?
Just it's bitten into my neck. I'll reach up and kind of, it's almost like it's a headlock of sorts. He's trying to pull it down, then push it back, leave its belly open to this young man. He's clearly very brave.
I don't know about brave.
All right, Bashar, go ahead and roll. That is a terrible roll. Holy crap. You had 3 2s, a 5, and a 3. None of those passed. That is absolutely horrific. So despite the fact that the angel is kind of holding the creature for you, like and getting it ready, like teeing you up, you go to, you slash into it. There is this whole long kind of coiled tail. You kind of get caught up in the midst of one of the bends of its actual body, and it just squeezes tight. You just feel like your body compress within the ridges of the membrane. I'm just gonna give go ahead.
Almost as if I had the bends.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. So this is gonna be 2 points of stress. We'll call it blood again.
Okay.
And it's only a 1. So what have I given you anything already for blood?
Oh yeah.
Spitting teeth,
spitting
right?
teeth. Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna upgrade it.
Yeah. You want to upgrade it? That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Let's do that.
So, what is upgraded spitting teeth? Let's call it. Yeah, we'll just put down broken face. It's still only going to affect how people like socially interact with you, so it's not going to come into play in the combat. But we'll say your face is just, you have like a fractured face.
Oh,
Okay.
Is that one you're making up?
Yeah, I'm just making it up.
Okay. So at that point, let's see here. First time each session I suffer major blood, mind, or fortune fallout, my death manifests to protect me and inflicts D8 stress on whatever caused the fallout.
So what does that look like?
As he's being squeezed, you see this big old shrouded skeleton appear out of nothing with another big old scythe as it lays into the worm. Like it like passes through the worm, disappears, and then comes back and passes through the worm, disappears, and comes back like real fast, like like all super.
Okay. Roll that stress. Roll that damage. D8, you said, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll it. Oh my god. This is ridiculous. I saw that, by the way, Steven. You better not play Erebon like that. Are you kidding? It's insane. All right, 4 points.
My new inspiration.
Yeah.
So that spectral shadow just kind of cuts through it, and you wrench free. And even though blood doesn't necessarily spurt out, you see like almost it manages to kind of cut through that kind of arcane, kind of magical barrier that seems to be protecting it.
We have some blood, like a little bit of blood spurt, like a thin line right
like
across
echo,
his face,
like liquid echo drips onto your face.
Yeah,
it's even more
even
edgelord than blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then beneath the ground, we'll go back to Lucius really fast. Lucius, you're ripping these things apart. They're still swarming you. There's like 3 or 4 of them that you've just torn apart, ripped to shreds. They're you can feel them coiling around your neck. They're kind of coiling around their arm, almost like they're working in sync with one another, like they have some kind of hive mind. And again, you see that like the roots themselves, they're struggling to find, like they're seeking out, like in this strange kind of blind manner, trying to find this reservoir that they've been feeding on. What would you like to do?
Do I see they're working together? Makes me think hive mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do I see their source, their primary, their main, something?
Yeah, roll a discern, and we'll say roll a discern Warren or Wild.
Let's go. Success.
Okay. So as all of these creatures are pulling and tightening around you, you actually see, now that you're looking, the water has stopped filling in. You can see where you dove down has almost kind of repatched itself. The bees of Esme have kind of created crystal above as they're still swarming about and protecting the roots of the tree still. And you see that there is this very large worm that has kind of coiled around, and it's actually not dirt that's making up walls, but this lengthy coil of creature that's just wrapping and wrapping around. And then you see its head kind of just shift, and you realize it's not just these adolescent swarms, but this larger creature that seems to kind of be this sort of central brain, kind of connecting and making all of them kind of do its bidding.
I'm gonna go fight the inside of its face real hard.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll your attack. However you want to do it, whether it's physical or whether you want to do some kind of magical smite or something.
I want to keep hanging on that ascension skill.
Okay.
I've got a once per session thing that I'd kind of like to use to help him.
Okay, what is it?
Once per session, I can call forth like a horde of beasts, the call of the wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, just momentarily feeling what's going on here, my soul will resonate with the portal that was once Zenobe, and ask if my friend will send forth the legions of his mother to assist Lucius down below.
Zenobe, Zenobe, you're part of this haven now. Like, you're ingrained in it.
Right.
You hear the plea of the Drowned Queen's champion. How does Zenobe respond?
You wouldn't necessarily hear or even feel any response. But after a moment, you would see ripples in the water as hundreds of thousands of crawfish start clawing their way to help.
So there is water in this sub area. That's like this chamber that surrounds the roots. It stopped dripping, but you can see that almost it makes no sense as all these thousands and thousands of crawfish begin erupting up and kind of almost swimming around like locusts to a degree. But there's no way all of them were here. You didn't see any of them come in. It's as if they've manifested through the water itself, and they just start ripping and tearing apart the outer membranes of these creatures that are trying to like strain, like keep you from getting closer to the larger of these worms, and you feel as like your arm is pushing free to try to like unleash the spell. It suddenly comes freer and faster than you would have expected, as this swarm of crawfish just demembranes this worm, just peels it back until all of its innards just flop to the ground. And you feel that your body suddenly has great movement and agility again, as all of these little smaller adolescent worms are being pulled off by this swarm of crawfish.
Wow.
How did you do on your roll, Lucius, to
I
attack
got
the big thing?
10.
Holy shit, you got a crit. Okay, it's a D10, I believe, was your
Yeah.
damage. Roll it twice. Okay.
I take the higher.
No, you take both.
combined?
It's a crit. You get them both.
Cool. 11.
11 points of damage. So this thing is just in this perfect kind of concentric circle around the inner of the chamber, and you reach out. It almost feels like it didn't even know you've noticed it, and you just kind of pull it back. You focus your energy, and you can see that it just kind of smites away a sudden chunk of it. It rears back now, this horrible bleeding wound, as it's just dripping this blood now into it. And as it peels away from the wall, you see that it's actually keeping at bay what looks like more of the reservoir that's trying to collapse in on the roots. It's creating this kind of damned effect. And just as it pulls away, some of that kind of echo begins to swarm in. But this thing is monstrously hurt. One more attack like that will certainly kill it. We'll go to our other angel up top. Kaiju fight. What does Malik do?
I have another ability that normally would give me a delve equipment dice. That wouldn't really help me here, but I'd like to flavor something with it if I could.
Please do.
The orchids that are upon the kelp pauldrons and greaves, they open and bloom, and something about the pollen within calls forth some of those bees from earlier, from Esme, who we had helped earlier. And the bees will come down. As he is struggling against the worm, he will now reach out towards one of the bones that Lucius had called forth, like a giant cage. And he will beckon for the bees to help reinforce those bones with that strange waxwork that they do. And as they begin to do so, and they with their sigiled magics, he will attempt in his best effort to pick up this worm that is upon his back, lift it, and then suplex it down upon this magically reinforced bone spear.
Roll your attack. That's amazing. Take a knack. It's an extra die.
Bashar will yell something about fighting straight on until morning, and then he'll yell, "Bring me the horizon," as he's going to assist.
Aww.
Okay. So I like to think that you're stabbed into the creature and you're being lifted up with it as it's being suplexed down, and you're just like kind of cutting into it.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah. Then Dante will tell the hounds to fire as well.
Okay.
Oh my.
So, yeah.
I'll take another die then there, Malik. So you're getting assist die from Esme, or excuse me, not from Esme, from Bashar, from Dante. And well, technically I guess sort of from Esme, as the bees are doing their thing. That's a lot of dice. That's a 9. That's an absolute success. Roll your damage. D12, I think we were saying. The suplex.
D12. Fortunately, I ate some flesh. Give me a better result.
Oh boy.
I've got a 10 on one of those. So 10 piercing.
Okay. Oh jeez, this thing's almost dead.
Just impaling it upon that bone spear.
You see the bone spear just rip through it and burst out, and this just cacophony of gore just erupts from it. This strange innards, this kind of purplish colored flesh, wrenches free, coats your face, falls on top of Bashar as well, drips down into all of these chunks just floating and kind of sizzling as it comes in contact with the salt water. It's still writhing around. It's sort of stuck now, though, as it's impaled, as its head whips around to try to snap at you. But you're able to lean back, and it misses. At this point, Zelena, you come back into existence. You look up. You see this impaled worm on top of this massive bone spear right over top of the meat tree. What would you like to do, Zelena, as you are back?
I'm gonna crawl over to the water and I'm gonna pour the vial of memory into the water that I had. And I'm going to call on Zenobe to help out what was left of Esme and do as Esme wanted and protect our wonderful meat tree.
Zenobe again. What happens?
Yeah, but you tried to kill Zenobe, so he does hold grudges.
I gave you a memory vial so that you would remember that you are best friends with Esme.
Okay, so the memory vial helps me remember that I did meet Esme, which I thought I had forgotten. And Esme was the one who Susan warned me not to work with. What are you asking, Zenobe?
I'm asking Zenobe to help. Esme.
Yeah, sure. I'll
your
throw a
best
fish at her.
friend.
Okay, so what is it that
I'll give her some
suddenly's-
fish to work with.
Okay. Do you want to do those like sword fish, or do you want to do something else?
No, just like some guppies or something.
These tiny little guppies start swarming around,
Oh,
and
no.
snapping at the
Oh,
base
no.
of this creature,
We lost the sea.
lipping, jumping up, out, kind of biting almost ineffectually at the
Guppies
tail
with
end of the
teeth.
creature.
They
Oh,
have
it's
some
biting.
teeth.
Oh, sure,
Yeah.
sure. They're biting, absolutely. Okay. Dante or Bashar, or is there something else you want to do before we go back to the subterranean chamber?
Dante's going to look at some of the other hounds. Do they look like they've taken some blood damage?
Oh yeah, they all look
Huh.
battered and bruised. You see a body, one of the bodies of the hounds just floating dead in the water.
Okay. I'm going to toss them my flask that I usually drink out of, and all right, drink that, and you'll be better in a bit. I mean, come on, you guys can do better than this. As I'm going to stare them down with a different ability stare down called No Sympathy.
Mhm.
Once per situation, my gaze functions as a mend or mind blood 6 ranged ability, to where I can give my allies a disapproving glance that spurs them into action, as I'm
Okay.
attempting to bolster their leadership and stare them into better fighting capabilities.
Okay. What's that called again?
It's called No Sympathy for the stare down major.
Oh yeah, it's the minor. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a minor underneath it. So yeah, basically my gaze functions as a mend
Mhm.
blood D6 ranged. So I can effectively heal them from range once per situation, or someone. And then also my flask, that's more of our Glorious Lady ability, where I can once per session clear D4 blood stress from an ally.
Mhm.
So okay, but yeah, so
Okay.
bit of a combo
so,
there.
Yeah, roll your mend mine.
Mhm.
Okay, so roll that. Okay, with a 10, that's a crit success. So one of them catches it. They look at you, and they look down at the body floating the ground of their friend. They look up at you. They look at this creature, and they just kind of scream, "Rah!" And they start firing. As they start firing wildly now. Okay. Bashar, anything else you want to do up here before we go below?
I mean, is the worm still alive?
Oh yeah, it's still alive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's stuck. It's swarming around. It's stuck on this bone sphere, but it's still swarming around. It's huge, and its head is still trying to snap at Malik and yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's just gonna continue to swing away at this thing and I'm having trouble remembering emo at this moment. I ain't got nothing clever this time, so I'm
That's a shame.
just gonna go at it. Yeah.
Go ahead. So go ahead, Bashar, as you swing down at this thing.
All
I will
right.
assist as I pull this thing's body against the bone spear in its belly.
Okay.
All right, just getting everything plugged in here. All right, here we go.
Okay. Roll your damage as you succeed with cost.
All right.
Two points of damage. Okay. Still up. As you swing, despite you sinking the blade in, you kind of get thrown off of it, and you're up fairly high at this point as it's been impaled on top of one of the spears. And you just kind of fall down to the ground, or I should say the mound, kind of where the water is most thin. Go ahead and take 2 points of blood stress as you land. And fallout-wise, that's a 9. Are you okay?
I'm okay for now.
All right. In the chamber beneath, Lucius, you see that there's this whole massive reservoir that's just being walled and dammed off as like they're trying to just starve out the tree from below. You can see all of the crawfish are wrenching free all of those adolescent creatures that had been kind of causing you trouble. And you just did a massive blow to this other one. One more shot would probably do it.
Yeah, let's do the job. Let's get it finished.
I see another 10 in there. Roll your damage, though I think you're going to be fine. It should be 2d10. Yep, you're good. It's a lot closer than I thought, actually. It's 6 health left. So describe how you kill this.
I just angel meat bone, like, fly through its mouth, and I'm just gonna zip around its internals, sticking little bone shards out here and there, just making streamers.
And so as you like kind of burst out from it, you look back at your work and you see it just kind of starts to deflate and crumble down. And with the dam no longer in place, that echo just floods into the chamber. It doesn't harm you. It just sort of swarms around you. And you see instantly the roots just begin to almost become engorged by it. Up on the surface, the tree, all of you that are near the tree that has been withered and dying, instantly just kind of grows, and it almost seems to animate. You see how its long arms kind of suddenly extend these branches, and this worm that has been trying to like wrench free of this bone spear, as it looks like it's about to hop up and off, it's kind of wrench itself free. All of these long kind of fleshy arms of the meat tree, suddenly filled with power, wrench around it in this lengthy hug, not letting it go anywhere. Malik, you can kind of feel this sense of energy just like pouring out from it. Something has happened below. Go ahead and roll an attack. You get an extra die from Lucius. Anybody else who wants to assist with this can go ahead and do so. As you realize, Malik, this is like the perfect opportunity. This thing isn't moving. It's not free. You know, it's not free to move.
Yeah, Bashar will assist as he yells, "This will be a day to remember."
Bashar shouts that. You get a bonus die from Bashar. Dante, are you doing anything with the...
Yeah, I'll
with
tell
your
the hounds to, coordinate fire. Yeah.
Okay. To coordinate fire, you find a place where the membrane's already torn, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. You just fire at an already wound. Zelena, how are you helping?
By not doing anything.
So you just stand back, arms folded. They've got this. Okay. Or you turn around because an explosion's about to happen.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
Malik, roll your damage.
Okay.
It's brutal, right? So I think is it brutal? So roll 2d12 take the better.
So take the 11.
Then 11. 10 would have done it too. Describe how you killed this, Malik.
It would seem only poetic that these things try to derive their survival from devouring the tree. So then, in turn, allowing the tree to take sustenance from them is appropriate as well. And he will just shove it onto one of the branches, like reach forth, grab its maw, wrench it open, and as the tree is growing, just take the maw in front of one of these growing branches and shove it along the tree, spitting it along the meat tree until it is then just torn asunder and then laying its body upon the roots.
The purple flesh just rips out and sizzles in the salt water, and then like the outer skin onto the roots itself almost begins to kind of melt into the ground. So, this thing is dead. We have two people that are in angelic form. What happens to the two of you? So Chuck and Jeremy, tell us what happens now to Lucius and Malik.
Now that the tree is safe, Lucius just he turns into a new meat tree sapling, like sprouting up through the ground next to the old meat tree in a roughly Lucius shaped with his wings and everything is like new branches. And he lives on as a tree of meat and bone.
Yeah. The trunk just comes and almost rapid fire. It just comes up and so much faster. And like at the base of the roots, like the body that you were in is sort of still there as it's being fed by the same reservoir that feeds the tree. You see swarms of Esme's bees still lingering around, come and kind of sit here and there along the branches, kind of creating small little pockets and hives.
I'll sprout a couple meat flowers.
Okay. You see them hop from one to the next. Malik, what happens to you?
Malik is beginning to recede from the memory of this angel. But it remembers that pit that these worms seem to have been crawling up from, as if from some other realm. The angel that was once known as Malik would rip up the bone spear from the earth, hold the coral shield in the other, and will kneel towards the throne as if asking permission for something. And after a long, tenuous beat, it will nod its head and will go towards that gaping maw and dive forth into some strange hellish abyss, plunging itself at the heart of wherever this worm came from. And who knows what happens to this strange angel.
As you dive down to that massive abyss, you can see like some of the water begins to recede a bit, but not too much. As there's this huge depression down where the ceiling collapsed in the initial flood of water, and there's this massive lake that has kind of begun to form, this crater within the Bleeding Hollow. But some of it begins to retreat and kind of follow Malik, like this flush of water, because it does seem to actually harm these creatures as well. So when everything kind of settles, there are two meat trees, one in the vague form of Luscious. Malik has disappeared. There's this strange lake where many of these different sea creatures have retreated to, and if you go to the edge of it, you can see at the base of it, the very bottom, because it's perfectly turned. You can see it clear to the bottom of that lake. There is a temple of some kind down there, and all these different creatures are swimming about. Dante, Zelena, even Bashar, actually. What happens to the three of you? Let's start with Bashar, actually. Let's start with Bashar, and then we'll go back to the What does Bashar
out of the
do?
way.
Yeah.
Bashar is just gonna say we reached for the stars and we came close. I suppose that only God is an astronaut.
A lingering worm just pops up out of the ground and swallows him whole.
Yeah.
Brings him back down to the earth while no one
Strange
saw
thoughts for someone who lives underground.
it. Dante and Zelena, what happens to the two of you?
Zelena's gonna shimmer and go back to her non-true form, so back in her witchy witch skin, and she'll make her way over to the new meat tree and just hug it.
That's fair. And you see like more sprouts begin to kind of pop up, almost as if they're responding.
It's a very happy meat tree.
Indeed. And Dante, what does Dante do?
Dante is taking stock of the situation.
Of course he is.
Because he's like, all right, we got 2 meat trees now. The one looks really good. The other one looks like it's okay. It's going strong. But we have a lake now, and yeah, that throne's new. Is that going to be a problem? So, I mean, he's just like, all right, let's just gather up whoever's still alive. We'll treat the wounded. We'll triage, and then, you know, if things keep on attacking, we'll keep fighting because that's what we are. We're hounds. That's what we do. You know, as long as we're here, this is still considered, you know, a haven. And so we're going to keep fighting for it until there's none left because that's what hounds do. You know, so he's going to try to rally the town, what's left of it. And look around. We can always get more Spire Black. I know where it's at. I can get us there if we need it. But
all those survivors are like staring up at you, covered in like mud and blood. There's like debris everywhere, and like there was like despair at first, but you go through this very impassioned, very practical speech. You can see that they start pushing themselves up off the ground, kind of wiping each other off here and there, picking what looks like some kind of piece of debris from their hair, and they're just like, all right, let's get back to work.
Oh, if you two ever want to see them again, I can take you to them. You can go through the gray. No.
okay.
I'm serious. Like, I can take you into the gray.
You can take us on through to the other side.
Yeah, sure.
God, you guys just killing it right here, trying to get this ending that means something. You just got swallowed by a. That was canon. Bashar was swallowed.
Oh,
Yeah, okay,
by
so
a
Bashar's
worm.
dead.
Yeah, that never
Yeah.
happened. All right.
That
Okay, then never
happened.
mind.
Cool.
So as everyone
Alright.
gets up and is following Dante's lead, we start kind of drifting off a bit. Camera starts kind of moving up. We see the flooded and partially ruined Bleeding Hollow. We kind of start getting up higher and higher to the ceiling, and we see these little lights begin to start coming out from kind of the western entrance and the northern entrance. So it looks like these different pilgrims now are beginning to show up once more as the meat tree is back in strength, and there's a second one now. As more people start to flock to the haven, Dante, more people for you to lead to prosperity. And we will end on that final shot with the dueling meat trees, and that is the end of our campaign.
Nice.
But what about the new person that's in control of this haven?
Who's that?
The
A bigger pardon?
utterly in control, I believe, is what the
Mhm.
text said.
Yes.
It sounds like we need a campaign too.
Tune in next year for
Next year.
part 2, season 2 of
I think
Heart.
Jeff needs a break from all the puns so he can get ready for another deluge.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And that is it.
Goblin calling.
It'll give you time to grow out your
Sorry.
hair, Adam, so that way you
What's
can
that?
properly
Sorry.
cover the eye
Yeah,
without a
I-
wig.
The
I'll
roof
play
is on
play an
fire.
edgy
The roof's
boy.
on fire.
Yeah.
Sorry, Melissa says
You
the
don't need no
roof's on
water.
fire.
The roof's on fire again? Nice.
It's on fire. It just keeps catching fire. It's, I don't know, it's a
Keeps-
dry climate. It's a dry
Every
climate.
other Friday.
It's
or
weird.
Saturday.
It just keeps timing out perfectly. Okay. And I think the end boss of the next campaign will be Bashar coming back.
Nice.
All right. Let's do some closing round tables. Chuck, what's going on with DOK?
Yeah, over on DOK, Defenders of Cobalt. This week, Wednesday, we're kicking off a brand new Alien campaign. Jeff and Jeremy will be there for that. Thursday, we're going to be continuing our Through the Hedgerows game. Friday, we're going to be continuing our Dungeon Crawl Classics Dead Sun campaign. And then Saturday's a doubleheader. Also 1 p.m. here on Grim and Perilous Plays. We're going to be kicking off a new campaign, mostly. We're going to be doing Through the Hedgerows, Tales from the Loop over on Grim and Perilous Plays. Going to run 2 crews through it. Mainly, it's just so I can cut down on prep. I prep for one and it's ready for the other. It's a great idea. But that'll be a lot of fun. And then Saturday night on Goodman Games Official, Bert's going to be running us through some more Weird Frontiers.
All right. Sounds fantastic. Mike, do you have anything you like to plug for old Grim and Perilous?
Usually I plug the Mechanics Mondays through our Patreon. I do some essays basically on looking at different games. Like right now I'm looking at Blackbirds, going through like the various character creations, looking at their the various ancestries. So it's been kind of interesting to look at the book to see it's kind of like Zweihander, but not Zweihander. So it's been kind of neat. So check it out.
Very cool. Jen, anything you got?
Nope, not on my end.
Okay. Steven, you're running a game these days, aren't you?
Yes. Tuesdays over on Adventures in Lollygagging, 9 p.m. Central. Haunted West by Darker Hue Studios, kind of like a Call of Cthulhu in the American West. It's been a lot of fun. I like to call it Rootin' Tootin' Horror because I get to see Jeff cringe. He just kind of clenches his jaw every time I say that. So, yeah, it's been a ton of fun. We're wrapping up our first arc. We got about 2 more weeks.
Very cool. And Steven tried to kill my character, failed.
There's always next week.
Yep. Nah, we'll see. I just won't hit the go live button.
Yeah.
Jeremy, tell us about this Patreon.
Yeah, and Reese on Patreon, you've got comics, art, maps, tokens, all sorts of fun stuff. Why not?
Fantastic. And then finally, not finally, because Adam will go. For me, so the rest of the lollygagger stuff, Monday, we'll be doing some Holler for Savage Worlds, probably. Then on, Friday next week, we're going to be back to Mothership as we're playing through the Gradient Descent campaign. And then on Saturday for the month of October, we're playing through a new game, Orbital Blues, Space Western, Space Cowboys, Sad Space Cowboys. You can catch Stevens in that game as well. And we just started today, and we'll have that on YouTube probably next week. And you can catch up.
I'll probably be dying in the next session.
It's not looking good for you, buddy. It's not looking good for you right off the bat. And then we'll kick it to Adam to close us down. So Adam, what's up?
Oh, lots. We do have some stuff coming up that we're going to announce soon, but we can't just yet. So go on over to grimandperilous.com. There's an email list there that you could sign up for if you want to, or just, check it out every now and then. Follow us on all of our socials. There's all sorts of links on there. So the last exciting thing that we had to talk about was we put out an adventure written by the wonderful and talented Chuckalicious, and that's called The Kids Aren't All Right. It's for Zweihander RPG. I got to play it. It's pretty fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And
all right.
So you can find that on our website. So.
Awesome. If that is all, thank you to everyone for playing and putting up with it for all these months. The delays, the skip sessions and things. We've been playing for a while now. I hope you had fun. That was weird.
It was.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff,
Weird.
for being so patient with
Yeah,
us.
thanks, Jeff,
Mm-hmm.
for not bailing on us game session 1.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I like to see the alternative universe where I did make that decision and see what mental state I'm in now in October with that one, and compare it to the one I'm in now, just out of curiosity. Just to see the contrast.
You would not be nearly so relieved as you will be here soon.
But I wouldn't have had as nearly as much fun though, Adam, these past several months. So, but yeah, that's it. Thank you for all of you who have been watching this. Really do appreciate it. Hero Sevenfold, Aaron, thank you for throwing out bits to help increase the chaos tonight. It got super crazy. But that's it. Everyone should go buy Heart City Beneath. It's an awesome game. You should play it. It's great. Just go buy it. But that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and put us on the end screen, and then maybe Adam will raid. I don't know. We'll see. Well,
maybe. We'll check.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.